So it's time for us to go ahead and compare the Apple Watch Series 7 and the Samsung Galaxy Watch 5 Pro that just came out and see which one is a better one for you. Now, I will tell you, this is not really going to be a buyer's guide or a buyer's comparison, mostly because if you own an Android, you can use the Galaxy Watch 5 Pro, but if you use an iPhone, you can use the Apple Watch Series 7. You can't really interchange these, they're not really super compatible with each other, so realistically speaking, it's just kind of cool to see which ones have what features, and honestly, there's not really a crazy good winner here. These are both very expensive watches, and I don't think pretty much everyone needs these watches. I think, most people can go for the cheaper counterparts, things like the Samsung Galaxy Watch 5 or the Apple Watch SE. I think those are very solid options for a lot of people, but if we want to go ahead and look at the more expensive offerings, then this, totally makes sense for me. Now, with both of these are in two different types of designs, so you really have to kind of remember that. The Galaxy Watch 5 Pro is not competing with the Series 7. It is probably going to be competing with the Pixel Watch and some other, smartwatches that are out. And Apple, the Series 7 doesn't really compete with any other Apple Watches except for the other Apple Watches it's sold by. So these are in two different demographics too, which is really interesting. Now, price-wise, these two watches are fairly similar, which is very interesting. With the Samsung Galaxy or this Apple Watch Series 7, the cheaper model costs $399, but the GPS and cellular model does cost $499, which is a pretty expensive price. And this is where things are going to get, pretty crazy. With the Samsung Galaxy Watch 5 Pro, the cheaper model costs $449, which I believe is one of the only models. You can also go ahead and get that Bluetooth and 4G LTE model for $499. So there's a $50 difference there. Realistically speaking, the higher end, if you get the GPS plus cellular option, they're both the same exact price, but the cheaper Apple Watch Series 7 is cheaper than the cheapest Galaxy Watch 5 Pro. So definitely do keep that in mind. And the features are fairly interestingly similar and different on both. So with the size on the front, you can either get a 41 or 45 millimeter size on the Apple Watch Series 7, but with the Galaxy Watch 5 Pro, you can only get it in one size. It's the 45 millimeter size, which is still more than enough for me and probably for a lot of people out there, but you're getting it in a really thick body. The Galaxy Watch 5 Pro is a much thicker watch than the Apple Watch Series 7, and the reason for that is mostly because of that bigger size battery. The Watch 5 Pro has a much bigger size battery than the Apple Watch Series 7. So I would envision if somebody's planning on going on super long hikes and they're planning on going, off the grid for a few days and coming back, and they don't want to have to worry about the battery life on their watch, I think the Watch 5 Pro is probably the better option, but I think the Series 7 still has pretty good battery life, it's not severely bad, and I've heard a lot of people say really good things about the battery life on that watch. But I will say Samsung for the last couple generations has been actually improving the battery life by quite a bit, in my opinion, over the Apple Watch Series 7 or the Apple Watches. The Series 7, even from Apple's website, states that it gives you the same battery life as the Apple Watch Series 3, which is pretty insane. The Galaxy Watch 5 Pro is retailing and stating that it has a really, really good size battery, and it has a much bigger size battery than the other watches it's sold by. So that's probably another thing you want to keep in mind as well. I will say in terms of the build quality and everything, both are very similar, but I've said this before in my other video. I kind of do feel like that the Series 7 and just the Apple Watch bands in general do feel more premium than my Galaxy Watch 5 Pro bands that I get in the box. Now, you can always interchange them and buy new ones. That's the great thing about owning these watches, but that was one thing that kind of stood out to me. On top of that, changing and rearranging my bands is not a fun experience on my Galaxy Watch. It is just every single Galaxy Watch I've owned. It is such a pain to put in a band and take it out, and sometimes it doesn't click into place. Apple Watches typically have a much better band. They have a much better band system. They slide into place. They very rarely move around, which is good. And, sometimes you can have issues, but I haven't had too many of those in my opinion. So in terms of that side, in terms of the outside, that kind of covers it. In terms of features and everything, you're realistically getting the same exact type of features. You can check your blood pressure, you can do an ECG, always on display, I guess, for both if you want it. You have great displays on both as well, but it's really going to come down to whether you have an Android or an iPhone. I will say there is a lot more similarity between these two than there are differences, and I think some people, want to see what the main highlights are, but like I said, they both are very similar in that standpoint. You're going to be utilizing both both of these, devices the same. You're going to be checking your steps. You're going to be competing with people. You're going to be checking notifications, responding. The speed of these are going to be fast. But one thing about the ecosystem is that I've always felt like Samsung has one awesome edge when it came down to the usability and their kind of feature ability with other Samsung phones. Meaning you can actually go ahead and wirelessly charge your Galaxy Watch 5 Pro from most Samsung phones that are available now. And that is awesome. With Apple Watches, we don't have that capability. I would love to travel without having to go ahead and bring an Apple Watch charger separate from my iPhone. And this is something that Apple may end up bringing in the future, but that was something that really stood out to me as well. So in terms of that, I don't think there's a clear winner. I think the Galaxy Watch 5 Pro, I love that design. I love the way it looks. The display on that watch is really, really good. And I love the Apple Watch with its, kind of square design. The band system on the Series 7 is much better than I think the Galaxy Watches. And I'll say both these are very expensive, but the choice is yours as of this point. If you have any other thoughts or questions, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, help me so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.